Hello everyone, this is Tanaka from Hair and Make Zen. I've been asked a lot of questions on how to make finger waves on short hair. So today I'm going to be teaching you all how to do it. In the end, our product will be something like this. Finger waves are very popular and they tend to be ordered frequently for events such as a coming-of-age ceremony or graduations. So in order to be able to handle a wide range of lengths, let's make sure to practice this method thoroughly. Now, let's get started. The most important part about making finger waves is the parting of the hair. Please keep in mind, when the area of the parting line is straight, it'll be left as is and stand out in a bad way. If you have thin hair, make sure to blur out the line in a zigzag form. You only have to use this much width when making each finger wave. We'll be making a zigzag form here too. As a rough guide, start from the depth of this parting line to just above the ear rather than the ear point. Take this much width. This should be enough. If there's a certain length of hair in the upper part, we normally tuck the sideburns inside and only use this area of hair to make the finger waves. As for today, I'll put the back part together for now. Then look at the overall balance and think of which side areas should be used for making the finger waves. We're going to part the hair on the opposite side using the same method. It'll look like this for the wig I'm using today. As for the back part, I'll just put it all together for now. For the time being, I put the back part into a normal loose chignon. Okay, so now that we're finished with that, let's officially start making the finger waves on the sides. First of all, let's start on the smaller side. Once you get the gist of working on this side, all you have to do on the opposite side is to add the bangs and the upper hair. That's why we're going to start from this side, just to get used to it. First, as a reference, if the top of the hair is long enough for the tip to reach the customer's jaw, we'll make a finger wave using only the hair here. So, in this example, in order to keep the lower hair on this side together, I'm going to curl it outward. After making the upper finger wave, as the final touch, I'm going to twist this hair bundle and secure it like this. So at this stage, I recommend using a duck curl pin to hold the tips of the finger wave. Now let's start with the upper part of the finger wave. Considering this thickness, I think it will be around 2 to 3 slices. Basically, when working on finger waves, the more you make, the more difficult it becomes. So let's use 2 slices this time. First, hold the top hair bundle with a duck curl pin so it doesn't deform. Starting from the bottom part, we will use a straightening iron instead of a curling iron to create the shape. Pull out from this position into this form. Make sure the iron plates are just parallel to the floor. Be careful not to raise it too high. If you raise the iron too high, the hair bundles will become fluffy and difficult to manage as a surface. After we're done with that, we're going to pinch the hair firmly from around the roots and then pull straight forward while tilting the iron in various angles. This is what it looks like from the side. Once you're done curling all the way to the very tip of the hair in one curl, we are going to wait for a brief moment just to let the hair cool down. Give it a touch, and if it's not too hot to touch with your fingers, you can continue to make your waves. Keep your fingers firmly attached to the roots and gently comb the hair from the roots. And in this state, insert the comb into the hair where the roots are and bring the hair bundle to the front. Now we can see that we've made a ridge right here. From here, we're going to use a duck curl pin to hold it in place. After that, we'll make another ridge right below the first one. We'll do this by shifting the comb backwards. Now let's hold the hair in place by using a duck curl pin the same way. After doing so, we're going to spray the top ridge and the bottom ridge thoroughly. Now that we've sprayed the lower part, we're going to put the belly of our forefinger right here and gently remove the comb. Then slowly remove the duck curl pin from the second section and spray this part as well. After that, check the position where you want to press the comb first and put your middle finger on it. Then remove the duck curl pin above. This time we're going to spray around the roots. Then press down with our ring finger. Now, starting from your index finger, slowly remove your fingers in order. Make sure to hold firmly with your comb so that the hair doesn't come down. Like this demonstration, you won't leave any marks if you let go slowly as if rolling your fingers. Then it will look like this. You can see the wave coming out in the form of two shapes. Now let's move on to the top layer. Pull out the upper part with the same angle so that it becomes parallel to the floor. Depending on the thickness, you may need to move the iron very slowly. The key to increasing the chance of success at this point is to firmly apply heat to the roots. Also, pull the hair slightly towards the front. The bottom plate of the iron is now near the scalp, just around the eyes. Make sure to always twist before making it slide. If you do this too late, the chances of success will drop drastically because the beginning of the wave will be delayed. We want it to look like this, a big curl from the roots. Now, just as before, we want to remember to cool the hair. If you're in a hurry, you can cool it down with a hair dryer. Once it's cooled down well, comb it out. Lift up the comb from the roots and slightly lower it downwards. Lift this up a little bit and bring it forward. This is how the ridge is created. If you spray the hair before removing the pin, it will leave a mark as it holds the hair in place. Since this part will become the surface, we won't have any hair to hide it. So, for this part, don't spray but press down with a duck curl pin. Now, let's go to this part. Insert the pin from the front again. This is where we work on the hair tips. For this part, we're going to make C curls. It will naturally form a ridge on the bottom when we create one on the upper section. We're going to handle this part of creating the hair tips with the image of connecting it to the bottom part. What we're going to do here is, instead of layering this wave beautifully, I'm going to take this section of the hair tip and combine it with the wave we just made as if creating an infinity symbol with both waves. It's alright for the waves to be in the opposite direction. It's better to use double pins when handling small parts like this, so be sure to have some ready. Now that we're done doing this, we're going to spray the upper and lower ridges to harden them. First, using the tail of the comb, trim the edges of each ridge. Next, make sure it's not sticking out too much when looking from the front. If it is sticking out too much, push down on the ridge itself, like this. When you're done doing that, carefully remove the double pin holding the hair tip and place your index finger on that part. Then remove the duck curl pin from the second wave on top. Once you've sprayed, place your middle finger on this part. And finally, slowly remove the pin from the root section. Spray it thoroughly and hold it in place with your ring finger. You can wait for it to harden slowly, but especially in the case such as the coming of age ceremony, we won't have much time, so you can use the heat of a hairdryer to dry it as soon as possible. This is how the finger wave on the left side looks at the moment. The back part of this side tends to loosen up when we do this, so check the silhouette from the front and hold the hair in place at the right place using a U-pin while we hold the hair with our fingers. Once we're finally done with that, let's take the hair around the ears which we have left and put them together. In the case of short hair, the hair tips tend to curl inward like this. If those hair tips flow toward and end around the sideburns, I think it's fine to layer them the way they are. However, if the hair is a lot longer, you should take the hair tip and turn it halfway towards the back of the ear. Pinch the ends of the hair with an American pin and casually fix it behind the ear. Now, we're going to put this bundle together. By having this hair bundle, we can cover the part of the ear that was not covered by the upper part. If the customer wishes, this can be used as a style to cover the ears. This is an important point, so let's take this style and make good use of it. I think you will be able to create a more stable silhouette if you use American pins in order to roughly fix the hair ends to the base of the back. Then do the same for the opposite side. We're going to take the same parting method, just like what we did with the left side. We're going to start by dividing the hair into upper and lower parts. First, once you separate 2 slices worth of hair, curl the lower sections outward with an iron. Then divide the upper hair bundle into 2 sections. Starting from the bottom, apply C-curls using a straightening iron. Pull out using the height of on the base, and from here, pinch the hair and twist slightly at the roots. Slowly move to the ends and let it slide without changing the height. As for the outcome, if the face line loosens up a bit, it will cause the final look to seem a little unbalanced. So, instead of pointing the straightening iron horizontally, make sure to tilt it towards the face and to keep the on the base position in front of the sliced line. Now, after letting it cool down, let's make finger waves on this part as well. They should look like this. I think it will be easier to create the waves by putting them and distinguishing them from the lower hair bundle. We're going to spray starting from the bottom ridge. Once you spray that, remove the duck curl pin from the bottom. Again, set your index finger to apply pressure. This time, slowly remove the pin on the upper section and spray this part as well. After applying the spray, slowly apply pressure with your middle finger. Once you've removed the root section, spray the root section above this ridge right here. And press down with your finger in the same way. Leave this to dry naturally or with a blow dryer. Then carefully remove your fingers from the ends. After finishing, repeat this on the top section so it's the same way. Depending on the length of the hair and how you iron it, it might be a little difficult to hold down the area around the roots. In that case, you can do it like this and ignore the root area. You'll be fine as long as you apply pressure from the next layer, so don't worry too much. In fact, the ridges will come out beautifully for the waves coming after that as long as we perfect the C curls. So let's make sure to shape the C curls carefully with the straightening iron. This is what it looks like from the front. Now let's go into the upper section. Basically, we just have to repeat what we've done thus far. The most important point is to handle the short bangs in the right way. For this part, spray the roots of the hair thoroughly in advance. I recommend starting by making an all-back style and then drying the hair. If you do this, you can see that the hair around the roots will not fall down. Now that the parts we just lifted are out of the way, we're going to ignore the bangs. Let's make the finger waves in the upper section. For this part, I recommend separating the hair into 2 slices as well. In this case, the purpose of the hair bundles is to naturally blend this wave into the wave that we made in the secondary tier. We do this instead of creating different layers with the waves as we did before. So don't lift up too much. We're going to pull out and C-curl the hair so it matches the height of the waves we made in the upper section. After letting it cool down, comb it slowly. Then we're going to create the wave's ridge, which overlaps just above the previous section. Here we need to harden the hair with spray and blend using the comb. We do this to prevent the hair tips of the wave that we made from falling apart. Now let's continue spraying to hold it in place. Be careful since this part tends to become slightly thicker as the hair in this part overlaps. Check it from the front and make sure that you're not going too far out with it. I also recommend using a U-pin to hold the strands for this part as well. Lastly, let's work on this surface and the bangs. Before finishing this last hair bundle, lightly apply C-curls to the hair ends. Just like this. Hold it in place using American pins. Just holding it flatly will do. While you're doing this, don't forget to spray the hair to harden it. Depending on the length, you can blend it nicely with the bottom section, just like this. This is what it looks like from the front. Now it's time to hide the American pins that we just put on the upper section. Again, don't lift this part too high. Instead, pull it out so that it overlaps with this second wave, and then firmly apply C-curls around the roots. The key here is to keep the pace slow and even when sliding the iron. As for this part, we're going to loosen the ridge, especially toward the start of it. Since we're trying to layer it on top of the second tier while keeping it loose, I recommend holding down the area around the roots with a duck curl pin. Once you've got it held down firmly, from here, let's bring together the hair using duck curl pins and spray. Gently place the waves as if blending into the lower section. Once you're finished with that, we're going to braid the ends of the hair, as we did for the other side, and gather it into the back section. All the while, we'll be adjusting the length of the hair overlapping the ears. This overlapping part tends to become thicker, so make sure to spray it nicely and neatly. Adjust the thickness so that it becomes as even as possible, and make sure to prevent the ends from being too dry and loose. Alright, that completes today's finger wave look on short hair. So how was it? This time, I didn't use a curling iron or a hot curler and used a straightening iron instead to shape the hair. Even with short hair, a lot of people order this style for special occasions. For this reason, I recommend practicing and learning it. I've been Tanaka from Hair and Make Zen, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, please feel free to subscribe to our channel and give a thumbs up.